de encontrar. Soy así, ya es muy tarde para cambiar. Yo no espero nada, vivo sin rumbo. Solo quiero amar cada segundo. Soy aquel.
Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would love to welcome Allan Misner. Is the host of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, the largest and longest running health and fitness podcast for people over 40. He has interviewed hundreds of health and wellness experts over a wide range of topics. He is the author of the award-winning book, The Wellness Roadmap, a straightforward guide to health and fitness after 40. In 2015, he launched 40 Plus Fitness online personal training to help people over 40 improve their health by losing weight and getting more fit. Welcome, Allan. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Lena.
Hey, Allan, what got you passionate about helping people over 40 stay fit and lose weight?
Well, I was struggling with it myself. You know, I was into my corporate career and I was obese. I was way out of shape. I was unfit. I was unhappy. And I was trying to fix it. And what was really surprising to me was that there were no resources. There were no podcasts. The only books I could find were chair yoga and stretching. And that wasn't going to do it.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And so, you know, I was like, I can't believe there's no resources. All the baby boomers just went through their 40s and nobody decided that this was important enough to even bother to write a book or do a podcast or anything. And so I literally went and got certified, and I did all the certifications to become a personal trainer just to train myself.
Wow, that's incredible.
Because there was no one else doing this. And I was like, I've got to fix this for myself. Now, after I took the time to fix myself, I lost 66 pounds of fat in about 11 months.
Wow, that's excellent.
And I had, of course, you know, a friend, you lose that kind of weight. He's like, dude, what you doing?
Yeah, how'd you do that?
I want to know what you did. I want some of that. And then that's when I realized it's like, no one's talking about this, and we should, because when you're over 40, things are a little different. Your body is changing in ways, particularly women, but even men, our bodies are changed. We're changing. And as we age, things don't work the same way. We can't do the same things we did in our 20s and expect the same results. But no one was talking about it. So I said, well, I want to have that conversation. So that's why I launched the podcast. And then that's why I wrote the book.
And so what did you do to lose 66 pounds in a year, in 11 months?
I just started eating real food.
And what's real food?
Well, initially it was introduced to me as paleo. And the principle is this. What did our ancestors eat?
Yeah, literally stuff they hunted, whole foods.
You had to hunt it, dig it up. It was growing. And that was kind of the principle. This was alive. And now I'm putting it into my body.
Mm-hmm.
And my body recognizes it as that thing that was alive. And so I know that my ancestors, okay, I'm Caucasian, I'm white. And I know all of my ancestors because I did the 23andMe, and they did the ancestry, like all white guy. You don't want me on your basketball team. I'm all white guy. Okay. And not the bird kind of white guy, like not a good basketball player. But that said, what I know is my ancestors went through parts of the year. They would be able to forage for vegetables, fruits, nuts, roots, and then hunt. And then there were periods of time when there were no fruits.
It was too cold.
There was roots until the ground got too hard to dig up the roots. And then there was just hunting and fishing. And so what I know is that over seasons of the year, my ancestors only ate meat and fish. And other sections of the year, they did get some fruits and vegetables, but that was not an all year round thing. You might walk up on a field of blueberries and eat all the blueberries. Because if we don't eat them, the deer will, right? So we got 3 weeks, eat these blueberries and go nuts, but then they're gone. And so what I recognized that if I stick to whole food, my body's going to recognize it as food. And I
Yes.
started losing weight. And just my basic way of eating, I found myself eating a lot more meat and a lot less fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the linchpin. That's what kind of brought it all together. So it
That's
was
really awesome.
effectively a low carb, whole food
Mm-hmm.
diet. Now, people argue about this or that, but I'll say this. I've interviewed hundreds of people, hundreds of experts in nutrition across the gamut: vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, paleo, keto, even a vegan keto. And so I've interviewed all these people, and when I ask them the one thing, or I look in their book for the one thing, what's the one thing that makes their way of eating better?
Sure.
Well, for them, it's that they're making money. But beyond that, every single one of them will say this. A vegan or vegetarian will say this is a plant-based whole food diet.
Plant-based whole food
A
diet.
carnivore will say this is a meat animal-based all meat, all food, whole food diet.
Mm-hmm.
They'll all say the same thing. And what they're basically talking about is the quality of the food.
Yeah.
Meaning it was closer to being alive. And then if you really start drilling down into food quality, talking to food scientists and all those folks, what you find is the closer the food is from where you are, where it was managed and raised,
Farmed, right.
the better. So if they're bringing
Wow, that's
food in from
fascinating.
Chile, if they're bringing food in from Chile, so here's some fruit that's growing in another country, and they're going to transport it thousands of miles. The people who are designing the fruit, meaning they're not necessarily genetically modifying it,
Mm-hmm.
but they're crossbreeding fruits to make them as resilient as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I want this apple to be beautiful when it's sitting on the shelf in your grocery store, right?
Right.
When it's in the bin, I want it to be beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick that apple before it's ripe so it doesn't bruise. And then we're going to ripen it at the store. So right before you get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put these together not so that they're the most nutritious, but so they're the most durable.
Right.
I can get them to you, and then we can ripen them right there before we put them on the shelf, and it's beautiful. Everyone looks the same. Everyone's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how our food system works. I want it shelf stable. Whereas if you looked at the way life should be, you're walking down the street and you and I see an apple tree. We climb the tree and grab a few apples. We might go back to that apple tree every day until there are no more apples. And then there's no more apples. But we got the apples right off the tree, ripe.
Mm-hmm.
So all the nutrients from the ground came up through the apple. And that's what we're eating. So if you go to a farmer's market or a co-op, have a conversation with the farmer. Find out how they raise their animals. Find out how they raise their crops. They love talking about it. You'll make some really good friends just having a conversation at a farmer's market, asking them about it, how they do this and what they do. They'll invite you out. Say, come on out to the farm. I'll show you. You'll see their chickens are just roaming around. Their cows are just out in the field. This is not what you see when you look at farm, basically factory animals that make up most of what's in our grocery store. So when you're starting to get your food closer to you, so it's not being transported thousands of miles, it's not being bred to be shelf stable. And this is the same food that farmer's feeding his family, or her family. You're getting the best quality stuff you can eat. It's not that much more expensive. So when someone asks me what real food is, I say you can recognize it as a plant or an animal.
Yeah.
Okay. A box of cookies doesn't fit that.
No, it doesn't.
And so a short answer is this, and this is the one thing, and this is not total, but for the most part, if it comes in a box, bag, jar, or can, it's suspect.
Mhm.
One thing you'll know about whole food is it does not sit long.
I
If I
love
gave you some meat or some fish, said, here you go, how long is it going to sit on the counter and be okay?
Got
Not
to eat it
long.
right away.
But I can put something on the shelf for 3 years with an expiry date of 2028,
Mhm.
and we're going to call that food.
Exactly. That's why there's so
Okay.
many sick people.
I do think that's a big part of it. I think we've basically taken what we call food today, and yes, it provides calories. And yes, it provides some other nutrition, but it's not what our body really needs. And so I think we have a situation where people are obese, but malnourished.
Oh, that's so true.
They're not getting what they need. And when your
Wow.
body wants something, it tells you. And so if your body says, hey, I want more, and we're thinking, well, it wants more Girl Scout cookies. No,
Right.
it wants more nutrition. It tasted something sweet. It was looking for vitamins.
Right.
What does it get from fruit? Vitamins, antioxidants, things like that. It was looking for those when it tasted something sweet and it didn't get it. So it says
Right.
more. It wants blueberries. It wants strawberries. It wants something that should be sweet and giving us the nutrition that should come from something sweet. All it's getting is sugar and flour. And it wants more nutrition. And we give it more flour and sugar.
Right.
Okay.
And then it
So I
becomes a
believe,
cycle. Yeah.
yeah. So I do believe we're undernourished, but overfed. And there are a billion, this just, my head just explodes.
Yeah.
There are a billion obese people on this planet.
Holy moly.
Okay. There are also a billion people who are living at the level of starvation that are called malnourished.
Hmm.
But that's, so we have a billion that are underfed. I mean, like way underfed and undernourished. And we have a billion who are way overfed and malnourished.
Yeah, malnourished.
I mean, again, with what we're capable of doing, distribution of food and everything else, it's a shame. We shouldn't be that way, but it is. We can control ourselves. So I just say, if you can improve the quality of your food, please do. That was the one fundamental difference I made in all of it. I
Hmm.
improved my movement, obviously, to get stronger, but I improved the quality of my food.
It's
I
probably
stopped
what I'm
eating
feeling from this.
processed crap.
What I'm feeling from this, Alan, like that's the most important thing to do first. First,
Yeah,
improve the quality of your food before you think about exercise or moving or how you're going to move. First, let's start with what you're putting, the fuel that you're putting in your body.
definitely a big part of it for sure.
And so once somebody starts, let's say you have a client, they say, okay, finally, I understand this whole foods, eating whole foods and things that are closer to my home. I'm talking to the people from farmers market. I've changed my my fuel intake, my nutrition. Like, how do I start to become physical now? I'm let's say someone says I'm 55 and I haven't exercised in 10 years. How do I start?
Okay. I had a client. Okay. She hired me and she told me this. She said, I hate exercise. I don't want to work out. This seems kind of weird. Hire a personal trainer when you don't want to work out, but she wanted to lose weight, but she didn't want to work out. So I said, okay, I understand you don't want to work out. So I'm not going to give you workouts. I said, so tell me about your day. And she said, well, in the morning go out, I go to get in my car. And she said, walking to my car in the carport, I get winded. I said, okay, you get winded walking to your carport. She said, yeah, I hate that. I hate that I get winded walking to my car.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, what I want you to do tomorrow is I want you to go to your car and I want you to walk to your car. And then I want you to do one lap around your car. Then you can get in your car and drive to work.
That's excellent.
Okay. So she did that. Now, I asked her how it was, checked in with her that evening. How was it? She said it was hard, but I did it. Okay. And I said, you're going to do it again tomorrow. And then the next day. And so we were doing that after about 3 or 4 days. She said, okay, it's getting easier. Like, good. Tomorrow you do 2 labs. Okay. Within a few weeks, she was walking around the neighborhood for 10 to 15 minutes at a time.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. So, but the principle was this: you have to start where you are. So if you've
Yeah.
never done
Love that.
anything before,
Right.
you've got to do just a little bit more. Get just outside your comfort zone. I call them gentle nudges. We just get slightly outside our comfort zone. And the important thing about that is this: if you break it down and start thinking about your life, nothing wonderful in your life has ever happened in your comfort zone.
That's so true. Yeah.
You've always had to step outside your comfort zone to accomplish anything important.
Oh, yeah.
And this is no different. Now, how do you get yourself to focus on what's most important to you?
Mhm.
Is to think about who you are and who you're supposed to be. Okay, so I'll tell you this story. My grandfather loved golf. Loved it. Played every day. He was a salesman. And back in that day, that's what salesmen did. They would go play golf with the guys they were going to try to sell to, and the contracts were made. That's how they built relationships. But he played golf practically every day of his life until he was 80. When he turned 80, he was struggling to swing a golf club. He didn't have the balance. And I also know he didn't have the strength he needed to be able to swing a golf club successfully and hit the ball. So he quit playing golf. Now, a lot of folks will say, oh, well, he was 80, right? So you have to give up the clubs at some point, right? He lived until he was 95.
That's amazing.
So the last 15 years of his life, he didn't get to do the thing he loved the most. So what are some things that you're doing now that you love doing? Imagine losing those.
It's awful.
Okay. Now, flash forward. My grandfather's 90. He's living in an apartment. They've got a care team, a couple doors down. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. So it's all one level. Everything's cool. He's living on his own, but he can't make it from his chair to the bathroom in time. And so then he has to call them to come clean him up because he can't do that either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I want to be able to wipe my own butt when I'm 105.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So think about the things that could be happening if you lose your independence, if you lose your capacity to do the things you have to do, not just things you enjoy doing, but losing the things that you have to do.
Yeah.
And now you're not independent anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So as you look at fitness, I don't want you thinking of it as exercise or workouts. It's not just something you have to do. You're training yourself to be who you're supposed to be. My client didn't deserve to get winded walking to her car.
Right.
She should feel comfortable and confident to go out of her house and go where she wants to go. And so just doing a little bit of work just outside her comfort zone allowed her to build the stamina to do those things. Now, I don't currently have any young grandchildren. All of our kids are older and married now, but there probably will be some grandchildren along the way. Okay. I'm already 58. So I'm just hitting grandchildren at 60.
Mm-hmm.
Then my 60s, 70s, and 80s, there's kids. I don't want to be the grandparent sitting in a chair, rocking chair, looking down on them while they're doing their thing. I want to be a participant in their life. So what does that mean? That means I have to be able to get down on the floor and crawl around and play with them. Wow. If we go to the zoo, I'm not sitting in a bench waiting for them to finish and telling me what it was about. I'm running with them from the lions to the bears. Okay. I'm out playing with them, participating with them. That's who I want my grandchildren to know. That's the relationship I want to have with them. If I want that, though, that's not an accident.
So true.
It's earned.
It is.
So I'm willing to get outside my comfort zone today so I can have that experience tomorrow.
Absolutely love that, Alan. I love what you do. I mean, the way that you're saying is actually planting seeds. Like, how do you want to be when you grow old? It's like people always talk about who do you want to be when you grow up, but what about when you grow old and when you grow older? And
Yeah.
and actually envisioning that person and envisioning that person, what type of activity does that person need to do to be able to get there? And that really opens up the channel and opens up the the imagination, the creativity to explore, to be able to know that if that's what you want for yourself, then you're able to do it. And what does it take for you to do it? And I especially love the story about the baby steps with your client. I mean, even if it takes the smallest of the smallest baby steps, even just getting yourself to do that baby step is a huge step for somebody.
It was huge. Because again, I couldn't tell her it was her workout. I, I had to sit on and say, hey, tomorrow I just want you to do one
Yeah,
lap around the car.
yeah.
And she didn't think of it as a workout. She thought of it as, okay, this is how I'm going to get
More like an
past being
activity.
winded. Right. I'm going to get past being winded. And then she saw the benefit as it got easier and easier for her to walk to her car. And she realized, well, it could be easier and easier for me to walk anywhere where I normally wouldn't. Now I don't have to sit on the bench. I can actually walk around. So she was able to experience things differently. Her relationship with people changed. Her relationship with her granddaughter changed because she could now actually start keeping up with her granddaughter. So she wasn't sitting back and calling her, hey, don't. She was able to get out and move with her. And so you have these opportunities and you can do it now. Particularly if you're over 40, you have to start now. We deal with sarcopenia, which is a wasting of muscle, and osteopenia, which is a wasting of bone. And whether you're male or female, you're going to have those two things. We are going to lose bone and we are going to lose muscle mass as we get older if we're not doing anything about it. And it's usually about 1% per year between 35 and 65, and then it accelerates. So what does that look like? You start thinking 1% per year from 35 to 65. The muscle mass you had when you were 35, you could lose half of that before you're 65.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. If you're not doing anything. And so, you and I had talked a little bit about the losing weight fast and what that's like and what that's
Yeah.
about, and whether we're doing it with medication or surgery or otherwise. The basic point is what those medications are doing, what those surgeries are doing, is they're causing you to lose a lot of weight fast. And I know you've probably heard of starvation, how your body will go into starvation
Yeah.
mode. Is exactly what you're doing. You're forcing it into starvation mode. This medication keeps you from wanting to eat. It slows down digestion, so you stay full longer. You're eating a lot less.
Hmm.
You're putting your body into physical starvation to lose weight that fast. When your body feels threatened, it wants to keep you alive. So it's going to say, it's better for me to jettison this muscle that they're not using than it is for me to try to keep the muscle. It's not worth it.
Right.
I want to keep them alive, jettison the muscle, keep the fat. So we actually start losing muscle faster. We lose bone density potentially faster. If we're not doing anything to keep that muscle, we're going to lose it. And there's
Mhm.
two things, well, three things you have to do to build muscle. You have to put a stress on the muscle to stimulate growth, AKA resistance training. You have to eat protein to rebuild that muscle, adequate protein, and you need to rest. So, making sure you have time between workouts for the muscle to rebuild. Each of those is important, but if we're not doing that and we're on this weight loss thing, we potentially could be losing more muscle and bone than we are losing fat. And
And
that's
then
a
how could our
very
skeletal system then even be able to hold up the physical body and in what you're trying to do
It's
at that point.
frailty. I mean, you
Yeah.
see the I'm sorry, but the
Yeah.
elderly 80 something year old
Right.
woman whose shoulders are collapsing together,
Yeah.
you know, and they're just because they don't have the bone density in the shoulder
Yeah.
complex, their chest and all that, they just sort of come together as a little collapsed little person. And I don't mean that a bad way. Again, anything that I say, I don't mean it in a bad way, you know, but if we don't recognize a problem, we're never going to try to solve it.
Right.
So we can't accept and just say, well, this is what happens. It's what happens if you don't do something different.
So
Okay.
true.
If we keep eating processed foods, you will stay overweight. If you go on one of these things and you stop eating, you'll lose the weight. But as soon as you stop doing it, your body's going to tell you, I'm hungry. And you're going to probably go back to eating the processed foods you were eating before. And you're going to put that weight right back on, probably faster and worse than you had it before.
Hey, Ellen, why doesn't, and I'm asking this because I've noticed this as a pattern with people in my life that have gone on weight loss journeys where the counting the calories thing, that's like they always end up gaining more weight afterwards. And it's
Yeah.
like, hang on a minute. Well, they were, I mean, and I mean, I remember, maybe about 10 years ago, I had this friend, she was obsessed with counting her calories, obsessed. And I just never really saw a difference. And I mean,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You know, I didn't want to ask because people can be pretty touchy, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So everybody's going to hate me, and that's okay. I'll
what?
accept the hate.
What?
I'll accept it. No,
What?
I think counting calories is the dumbest way to lose weight.
Mhm.
Just flat out. Okay.
Okay.
Now, people will complain, say you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
I've heard it. Yeah.
Newton's third law. You can't violate that. True. I didn't say you don't have to be in a calorie deficit, but counting them makes no sense whatsoever. And here's why.
Okay.
The amount of calories that you burn is an estimate.
True.
We're going to either calculate it on a calculator, a
Yeah.
formula. Okay. You said you're 5'2",
5'2", yeah. Just about.
100 pounds. So you're going to calculate and it's going to say your BMR is 1200.
Sure.
Okay. That's a calculates. Okay. And you could say, okay, great. So if I eat 1200 and then I eat this extra 1000
Mhm.
calories, I should gain a pound a week. It never works
Yeah.
that way, does it?
Right. No, it
Okay.
doesn't.
It doesn't.
Because
It
I
should be
tried
straight
that.
line. It should be straight line.
Right.
My BMR is this, and I'm not doing a whole lot of extra exercise. I should just be able to eat the extra 500 calories a day and gain 1 pound per week for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way because that formula doesn't know exactly how much your body is burned. And here's an example. So I go into the gym and I'm trying to lose weight. Like I said, I didn't know how it worked. I hadn't been trained yet. I went into the gym and I got on an elliptical machine. And I'm like, I'm busting my butt for an hour on this elliptical machine.
Mhm.
And it tells me 600 calories burned. That feels good. 600
Yeah.
calories, right?
Yeah.
600 calories. And so I go in there. I actually gave her a name. Her name is Martha. And I had a sitting date with Martha every day, 6 days a week. And I'm in there with Martha, 600 calories, 6 days a week. I'm like, okay, I should be losing at least a pound a week just doing this. I wasn't. But one day I go in and someone's on Martha.
Yeah.
Someone's using the elliptical machine.
Uh-huh.
5 o'clock in the morning. Why would they be here? But they are. So I'm like, I don't have time if I want to get my hour in to wait. So I need to go ahead and pick a different machine, different brand, similar style. I get on that machine and I bust it for that same hour. Same level of effort as far as I can possibly tell. Everything I had for 1 hour. This elliptical told me I burned 700 calories. So now I had a new favorite elliptical machine.
Yeah.
Now, do you think logically that I burned an extra 100
I don't
calories?
think so.
I don't think. I
No.
mean, now I have to question, was I even burning 600?
Damn, that's a good question.
Okay. because it's all an estimate. This is the
Yeah.
effort we think you put in. This is the number of calories we think you burned, all an estimate. And that's 100 calories. So, what is 100 calories? 100 calories a day for 1 year is 10 pounds. So, if I'm off by that 100 calories, that's a difference of 10 pounds. 10 pounds I could gain
Yeah.
or stay the same,
Uh-huh.
or 10 pounds I could lose or stay the same. Okay. On the food side, we're notoriously terrible at estimating how much food we ate.
Oh yeah.
So if you have to guess how much you're eating, again, we don't know.
Like
We're
no.
guessing. And so here's an example. Let's say it's a ribeye steak. Okay. I've had ribeye steaks that were so marbled with so much fat, it was almost like more fat than meat. Okay. And I've had some that were mostly very lean.
Mhm.
Now we know fat has 9 calories per gram and protein has 4. So if more of that steak was fat than meat, it would stand a reason it could have considerably more calories.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So was the one that they had in the chart that's on Google, was it this fatty or less fatty or more fatty?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's an average? What's the right amount? I don't know.
No.
So I eat the steak and I'm going to guess that this is this much fat, this much protein, this many calories. Right. And I could be wrong. 100 calories.
Yeah. And
And
also,
so
as you're saying that, Alan, I'm thinking it also depends on that is an average for who specifically, even where was that taken for? Because everybody's metabolism is different.
well, yeah. Well, we got the burn side and we got the eating side. And I'm going to assume the eating side is fairly consistent, but we don't weigh our food. We
No.
don't sit there and measure and
Right.
weigh everything. Now, some people will for periods of time, and that's fine. Again, there's nothing wrong with counting calories. It's just thinking that's going to make you lose weight is part of the problem. You'll get frustrated a lot faster than you'll get results.
Yeah.
Whereas what I can say is this, if you do basically three things. The first one, eat whole food. We talked
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
If you recognize it as a plant, okay. So this was a plant, okay.
Yeah.
This was a I'm eating vegetables here because this is like a salad, a lettuce, broccoli,
Mhm.
cauliflower, even a potato. I know this was grown, and I'm eating fish, and I'm eating meat, and I'm eating eggs. I know that's animal based. But I know where that came from. I know what that is. It's not coming from a box, bag, jar, or can in most cases. So there's nothing else in there.
Right.
Okay. You do
True.
that. You drink enough water so that you're not dehydrated,
Mhm.
because our body will often tell us it's hungry when it's just dehydrated, because we do get a good portion of our liquids from foods.
Yes.
So if we just go ahead and drink enough water, then we stay hydrated. And then the final bit is just making sure that we're moving enough, just moving around a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you'll do those three things, eat whole food, drink plenty of water, and move, you'll lose weight. That was the ending math for me, is just okay, not eating anything that was processed, drinking plenty of water, and increasing my movement over time, little nudges just outside my comfort zone, so I could get a little stronger, build a little bit more stamina. Over time, that was all it really took. And I lost 66 pounds of fat. I gained 11 pounds of muscle.
Wow, that's
I did
incredible.
that in my mid 40s.
Wow. That's amazing. What so as you're saying this, because I'm wondering, because I also know a lot of but I'm gonna say mostly women, and I'm not sure whether it's hormonal, it could be, but their weight can fluctuate pretty drastically, sometimes by the month and sometimes every
Yeah.
other year. I was like, what's the one piece of advice that you can give for men or women to actually keep their weight off or sustain it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the core again is those kind of those same three things.
As long as they
Um,
stay within those three things.
try to stay with it. Now that the thing with women for the most part, women go through perimenopause and then menopause. This
Yeah.
usually onsets around age 35, between 35 and 55. They'll go through this period of time when their hormones are just going nuts. Okay. And guys will never experience anything close to it. Don't think you do. We go through andropause, but andropause for us is just where our testosterone begins to
Drops.
diminish. Okay. It's not anything like what the women are going through. So don't even think it, you're not even close. So don't,
Yeah.
just not even close. Okay. Women are suffering. This is one of the most drastic periods of your life. It is, again, I can't even imagine what it would be like.
Hmm.
It's terrible, but it's a period of time, and then you're going to hit menopause. There are opportunities for men and for women to utilize hormone replacement therapy with a licensed doctor to help you walk through a process where you
Yeah.
can minimize a lot of the impact of that through hormone replacement. And it's been being used for years. It's safe, it's effective, and it will help. But that said, women will have to pay attention to the fact that their body is stressed,
Right.
okay, going through this.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at your estrogen levels dropping. And so when your body, your ovaries aren't producing enough estrogen, your body's looking for ways to produce more.
Oh.
One way that your body produces estrogen is through your adrenal glands, which means your cortisol goes up.
Oh. Yeah.
Now,
Stress.
that's not good because cortisol is catabolic, breaking down muscle, and it kind of wants your body to store fat in the belly.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so a woman starts
Yeah.
noticing that they're redistributing their body fat to their belly. Another thing that's also happening is that fat itself is not just some benign thing, it's an organ and it produces estrogen as well. So your
Oh,
body
wow.
kind of wants to produce
Holy
more
moly.
fat when
Wow.
you're going through this change. And that's why you start storing a little bit more fat. So with the cortisol and the lower estrogen, and then now the body fat, all that's trying to go where you don't want it to go. And if you're pushing yourself harder in the gym, you might be raising your cortisol even more because you're just hitting your adrenals like, okay, let's just run harder. Like I talked about Martha. Okay, here's an
Yeah.
hour as hard as I can go on Martha. Was probably the worst thing I could have done
Yeah.
for weight loss because
Mhm.
I was really pushing myself hard for a whole hour, which
Right.
means that, each morning I was getting up, going in there, and boom, for an hour, just super
Yeah.
intense. Probably not the best thing for me to have done at that point in time
Right.
to lose weight and keep it off. So sometimes it's more gentle stuff. It's just moving. It's it's teaching your body it's safe. This is one message that gets lost in health and fitness. But our body wants to keep us alive. It doesn't care how
Yeah.
fat we are. It doesn't care.
Hmm.
It's got a happy weight. It might not be your happy weight. Okay. You want to gain weight. It doesn't want to. You want to lose weight. It doesn't want to.
Right.
Okay. There's a reason for that. Its job is to keep you alive. So if you want your body to cooperate, you have to make it feel safe. So how do we make our body feel safe?
Good
We give it
question.
good nutrition.
Yeah.
We move it comfortably. Now, our body was never intended to just stay stationary. It was
Right.
intended to move around
Hmm.
because we should be out hunting and gathering.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we're not doing that, then we're telling our body something's wrong.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
is why is Lino not leaving the cave?
Right.
Is there something dangerous out there?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's something dangerous and we're not going to be able to get out and get food, then I don't want to burn these extra calories. So I'm going to shut this stuff down and try to store fat so we keep Lino alive.
Right.
Okay. Then there's okay, so there's that. Then there's sleep. If you're not sleeping well, then again, you're messaging your body, why won't you sleep? What's going on? So again, trying to get good quality sleep, enough and good quality. And then stress, stress levels. If we're staying stressed because of work, we're living in an always bear mode. We were never designed for always bear. We were designed, you're walking through the woods. Oh, there's a bear, run.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Scared moment of bear. Do I fight, flight, or freeze? Okay. And then there's no more bear. The bear's gone. But we live now where we're like constantly bear. Like it's always bear on. And we're not designed for all day bear. We're not designed for that. But that's what we're giving. We're totally always stressed. We're not taking breaks. We're not taking care of ourselves from a stress level. And that's giving our body the message that there's something dangerous. This is not safe. And then the final bit is this is you. This is your internal dialogue. I've heard some people don't have an inner dialogue. I've never really met anybody that told me they do not have one, but I've heard there are some. But I think almost all of us have an inner dialogue. There's a voice in our head that talks to us all the time. Okay. Mine is actually not a very nice guy.
Yeah.
He says things to me that are just horrible. I would never talk to my best friend that way, but for some reason, this inner dialogue, man, he will let me have it. He will just let me have it. And I don't like him. And he's not looking after my best interest, and he's not making my body feel safe.
Right.
So I have to work with that inner dialogue. And when I hear words in my head like can't, always, never, I have to turn him off.
Yes.
I have to tell him to go away.
Oh, yeah.
You are not welcome here. You are not telling our body the thing it needs to hear to heal. You're not telling our body the thing it needs to be better. And that's one of the coolest things about the human body. If we give it what it needs, it can heal.
Yeah.
You've seen this yourself.
Yes.
If we give our body what it needs, it can get better. It can get stronger. We can build stamina. All the things we want out of our future life, out of ourself, it's all there. We just have to give it the things it needs. Those 5 things I just mentioned. If you're touching on those 5 things and giving your body what it needs, it will take care of you. It will do more than keep you alive. It'll help you do the things you want to do.
Yeah. Help you thrive. Yeah.
Yes.
Allan Misner, everybody on A Little Less Fear podcast. Thank you so much for your incredible tips. I mean, you've inspired me. Even though I'm at a healthy weight, I still want to go out and get my pump on right now and go for a long walk. I really appreciate it. Thank you. How can our viewers, our watchers, and our listeners get a hold of you?
Okay. Well, the 40 Plus Fitness podcast is right here where you listen to this great podcast. So
Excellent.
you can just flip over there and find it. 40 Plus Fitness, pretty easy. And then I have my website is 40plusfitness.com. Like I said, there was no one doing this. So the fact that I own 40 Plus Fitness podcast and 40 Plus Fitness, you can tell how many people were actually doing this, that I'm able to have those 2 things.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
40plusfitness.com. That's 40plusfitness.com. That's the website. And then the podcast, 40 Plus Fitness, wherever you look and listen to podcasts.
40plusfitness.com and the podcast 40 Plus Fitness has been Allan Misner. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible tips. What a great way to start the new year. I really appreciate you and your energy. I look forward to staying in touch. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Lino. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.